Ever caught yourself, gazing up at the sky, dreaming of flying cars? Or maybe just wondering what life would be like if technology truly moved, well, warp speed. Get ready, because you're about to dive into a world where science fiction is rapidly becoming science fact, all based on some fascinating material you've shared with us. Today, we're embarking on an exhilarating deep dive. We're looking into how converging exponential technologies are not just changing things, they're fundamentally reshaping our lives, our industries, and really the very concept of what's possible. We'll be unpacking some truly mind-bending insights from Peter H. Diamandis and Steven Kotler, the authors of The Future is Faster Than You Think.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what we're aiming for today, to kind of distill those insights, cut through the noise within those sources, and give you a shortcut to being incredibly well-informed. We'll highlight the most surprising facts, the crucial takeaways, helping you understand not just what's happening, but maybe more importantly, why it fundamentally matters to your future. I mean, we're talking about a future where effectively 20,000 years of technological change could happen over the next 100 years. It's quite a claim.
It really is a staggering thought. And to really bring it home, let's maybe start with something many of us have dreamed about. Flying cars.
Yeah.
From flying chariots in ancient texts like the Ramayana to the 1917 Curtiss autoplane, which was real, the ideas captivated us. Yet none have truly delivered on that Jetsons promise, have they? Until, well, maybe now. So what's changed? Why are flying cars suddenly looking like a viable reality today?
That's a critical point. It's not just one thing, it's the whole convergence. The core idea here is that when technologies converge, their disruptive potential doesn't just add up, it multiplies. Exponentially. Think about it. A single exponential tech might disrupt a product, Netflix versus Blockbuster, that kind of thing. But convergent exponentials, that's different. That's what can truly wash away entire markets, the old structures supporting them, and bring in totally new ways of doing things.
Right. So flying cars, or maybe aerial ride-sharing, as Jeff Holden at Uber envisioned it, they're a perfect case study for this convergence. The key, as you said, lies in meeting three basic things: safety, noise, and price. Traditional helicopters, well, they've been around nearly 80 years, right? But they couldn't really crack it. Loud, expensive, and let's be honest, they always had a bit of a safety stigma.
Exactly. They just didn't meet those criteria affordably or quietly enough for mass adoption.
But now, with this convergence, companies like Bell, Uber, Airbus, Boeing, Embraer, they're actually bringing aerial taxis to market, or getting very close.
Yeah.
But okay, beyond the tech itself, what about the air traffic control, the regulations? If we're seeing these by 2027, that seems like a huge coordination challenge.
Oh, absolutely. You've hit on a crucial non-technical hurdle, and that is being tackled in parallel. The regulatory frameworks, the air traffic management systems for low-altitude flight. It's all part of the puzzle. But just focusing on the technology for a second, the convergence is, well, it's remarkable. First, you have distributed electric propulsion, DEP. This isn't just one big motor. Think lots of smaller, lightweight, incredibly quiet, heavy load-carrying electromagnetic motors. Their rapid development, largely thanks to the massive demand from the drone industry, both commercial and military.
Ah, okay, so drones paved the way.
In a big way. Then you add advances in machine learning. This allows engineers to run these enormously complicated flight simulations that were just impossible before. That's key for safety testing. Material science has given us breakthroughs for parts that are both incredibly light, which you need for flight, and super durable, which you need for safety. And 3D printing, it provides totally new manufacturing techniques. You can create these complex motor designs, the rotors at scale. It vastly reduces costs and speeds up development cycles. And get this, these new electric engines, they're about 95% efficient. Compare that to a typical gasoline engine at maybe 28%.
Wow, 95% versus 28%. That's a huge difference in energy use.
It's a game changer for operating costs and environmental impact. So yeah, the regulators, the infrastructure, it's all being reimagined alongside the hardware.
It's just incredible how all these different pieces developed for potentially other reasons suddenly fit together to unlock something that felt perpetually, 5 years away. And the timeline you mentioned is pretty aggressive, ordering an aerial rideshare like an Uber by 2027.
That's the target for some early deployments, yes.
And by 2030, urban aviation could be a major way to get around, completely changing commutes, maybe even where people decide to live.
Yeah.
This isn't just for sci-fi fans anymore, is it? It's a real-world, tangible demonstration of convergence happening right now, coming to a city near you potentially very soon.
And moving beyond the skies. This power of convergence is also set to completely transform ground transportation. Think back maybe a little over a century ago. You had the convergence of the internal combustion engine, the assembly line, and the burgeoning petroleum industry that basically drove horses out of the transportation business, reshaped society.
Right, a total paradigm shift.
Well, today, autonomous cars offer what looks like a similar scale of shift, maybe even a tenfold increase in value across the board. Cheaper, faster, just better. The potential impact here is just profound. Consider demonetization. Just imagine car ownership, which is a huge expense for most households.
No.
Imagine it becoming kind of obsolete for many people. Ride-sharing autonomous cars could be, say, 80% cheaper than owning and operating your own car. Transportation becomes almost like a utility, nearly free. That frees up enormous amounts of money in household budgets.
80% cheaper.
That's
massive.
It is. And think about time saved. That average U.S. round-trip commute, what is it, around 50 minutes?
Yeah, sounds about right. Sometimes more.
Exactly. Now, imagine reclaiming that time. You could sleep, work, watch something, whatever. It fundamentally changes daily productivity, leisure time.
That's not just a convenience boost, that's a huge economic and social shift right there. And it must imply massive changes for the auto industry too,
Yeah.
like consolidation.
Precisely. You've got maybe over 100 car brands today. We might see only a few major players remain. Because functionality, like who has the lowest wait times, the cheapest rides, that could easily trump brand loyalty when you're just hailing a ride. Plus, a single autonomous car could potentially serve half a dozen families in a day. You just don't need as many vehicles overall.
Fewer cars needed.
Yeah.
And what about all the space we use for them now? Parking lots.
Exactly. Look at urban redevelopment.
Yeah.
America has something like 500,000 parking spaces. An MIT professor, Aaron Ben-Joseph, pointed out that parking lots cover over a third of the land in many major U.S. cities.
A third. Wow.
Imagine repurposing all that space. You could have a massive commercial real estate boom. Parks, housing, maybe even those skyports for the aerial rideshares we were talking about.
It's not just about getting from A to B faster. It's about fundamentally reshaping our cities, maybe even tackling problems like affordable housing if we reclaim that land. It's this huge ripple effect.
Yeah.
Okay, so ground transport is changing, air transport is changing. But if that's still not fast enough for you, then there's Elon Musk's Hyperloop concept, supersonic travel, like LA to San Francisco in the time it takes to watch a sitcom.
Yeah, it's an incredible vision, and it's an idea with historical echoes, actually. Robert Goddard, the rocketry pioneer, he proposed a vacuum train concept way back in 1909.
1909, really?
Yep, and then the RAND Corporation explored a supersonic underground railway idea in 1972. But just like flying cars, turning that sci-fi into sci-fact needed a whole series of modern convergences that just weren't around back then.
And what are the key convergences for Hyperloop?
Well, you've got the rapid acceleration of power electronics. You need incredible bursts of power. Then there's computational modeling cloud simulations for safety, reliability, testing designs, stuff you couldn't do before. Advances in material sciences are crucial too, for structures that are lightweight but incredibly strong to handle the speeds and pressures, and again, 3D printing, for electromagnetic systems, but also potentially for the large concrete structures of the tubes themselves. It could dramatically slash costs and speed up construction.
So it's the combination of advanced simulation, new materials, and much faster, cheaper manufacturing that makes Hyperloop feasible now where it wasn't before.
Absolutely. According to Josh Gagel, who co-founded Hyperloop One, there are now about 10 major projects exploring this worldwide. They were targeting certification around 2023, initial passenger testing maybe by 2025. Imagine Chicago to DC in 35 minutes. Pune to Mumbai in 25.
It's hard to even wrap your head around that. It's not just faster travel. It completely changes how we think about distance, about economic regions, about where we can live and work.
Exactly. And this same power of convergence isn't just about moving people. It's fundamentally reshaping how we shop, how industries operate. It's transforming retail. I mean, just look at the contrast between Sears. Went from $14.3 billion in revenue down to bankruptcy between 2006 and 2017. In that same period, Amazon went from $17.5 billion to over $700 billion.
That's stark.
It shows how established organizations, even ones built to last, can really struggle to keep pace with this kind of rapid, radical change. Yale's Richard Foster estimates that something like 40% of today's Fortune 500 companies might be gone in just 10 years.
Wow. So the future of retail is all about
What?
making it completely seamless, frictionless.
Yeah, that seems to be the direction. We're seeing AI assistants becoming incredibly sophisticated. Remember that Google Duplex demo? Making appointments over the phone, sounding completely human.
Yeah, that was pretty eerie.
And you've got emotionally intelligent computing from companies like Soul Machines, beyond verbal systems that can potentially handle maybe 40% of customer service interactions with high satisfaction. And they learn, they personalize things for you. Then there's Amazon Go, those stores where you just scan a QR code, grab what you need, and walk out.
Right, no checkout lines.
Exactly. Cameras, weight sensors track everything. That alone could save retailers maybe $150 to $380 billion by 2025, just eliminating checkout friction. And of course, delivery bots. Neura's got those self-driving grocery cars. Amazon's working on Prime Air drone delivery packages in 30 minutes or less. This isn't just about convenience either. Rising human labor costs are a big driver for robotic adoption.
Okay, AI, automated checkout, robots. But you also mentioned 3D printing having a huge impact on retail.
Oh, massive, and potentially even more disruptive to the underlying manufacturing sector. Take a company like Ministry of Supply. They use technology derived from spacesuits to create these high-tech dress shirts that adapt to your body temperature.
Spacesuit shirts. Okay.
Or think about Staples or Leroy Merlin offering in-store 3D printing. Need a custom piece of hardware, like a wrench bent just so. They could potentially print it for you on demand. This completely flips the model. Instead of mass manufacturing and holding huge inventories, you have on-demand production. That threatens the entire $12 trillion traditional manufacturing sector, especially as the cost of good 3D printers has just plummeted from hundreds of thousands down to under $1,000 in just a few years. It's becoming accessible to everyone.
Okay, so let's pull all that together. Paint me a picture. The mall of, say, 2029. What does that look like?
All right, imagine this. You put on a lightweight VR headset. You start talking to your personal AI. Let's call it Jarvis. Why not?
Sure.
It knows your exact body measurements because your phone sensors have scanned you. Instantly, you're teleported into a virtual clothing store. Maybe it's designed by a small artisan in Italy, maybe a big brand. Zero travel time. You have access to literally every global designer. You can see the clothes on your virtual avatar, maybe even attend an instant virtual fashion show with friends.
Okay, cool.
You pick something, it gets 3D printed, maybe using advanced materials at a local automated warehouse. Then a drone delivers it to your doorstep within an hour or two. And the cost? Maybe half of what it is today because you've cut out all the middlemen, the retail space, the inventory costs.
Wow. That really does sound like a different world. And you're saying the tech for a lot of this is basically here, just converging.
Much of it is, yes. It's about integrating AI, VR, sensors, 3D printing, robotics, logistics, all converging to create an experience that makes even today's online shopping feel, well, kind of primitive.
This vision of the mall of 2029, it really shows the power of convergence at that kind of micro level, doesn't it? But what's really propelling all these changes, flying cars, virtual shops, everything, it isn't just the technologies interacting, is it? There are bigger forces at play.
Exactly right. This acceleration we're seeing, this increasing pace, it's fueled by more than just the tech itself converging. There are these powerful macro forces amplifying everything, pushing it forward even faster.
And a huge one has to be just the availability of capital, right?
Yep.
Money makes the future happen faster. Historically, you had massive government projects like the Apollo program, spurred by Sputnik. That saw, 2.2% of U.S. GDP poured into aerospace? Supercharging innovation in that specific area.
Right. Huge focused investment.
Yeah.
But today, capital is more available and maybe more importantly, more agile than ever before. It's flowing into multiple exponential fields simultaneously.
How so?
Well, look at crowdfunding. Platforms like Kickstarter, they've launched over 450,000 projects, raised $4.4 billion. That speeds up countless startups. And some experts project that market could hit $300 billion by 2025.
So democratizing early stage funding.
Exactly. Then there's venture capital. That's what fueled giants like Apple, Amazon, Google, Uber. US VC investment hit nearly $100 billion back in 2017 and has continued to grow. But the real heavyweight now, sovereign wealth funds. These government-owned funds hold an estimated $8.5 trillion in assets globally.
Trillion with a T.
Trillion with a T. Think about SoftBank's Vision Fund. Backed heavily by Saudi Arabia, they reportedly secured $45 billion in commitments in just 45 minutes, specifically to finance tech startups. This isn't just funding individual projects. It's like a technology turbo boost. It creates this venture superhighway where massive capital enables simultaneous development across diverse fields, making them collide and converge even faster.
That flood of capital must also tie into another force, the democratization of genius. Historically, brilliant minds could easily be lost just due to circumstance.
Absolutely. Think of someone like Srinivasa Ramanujan, the self-taught Indian mathematician from the early 20th century. Grew up in poverty, largely unknown until a Cambridge professor, G.H. Hardy, recognized his genius from a letter. Imagine how many Ramanujans were lost throughout history.
Right, genius was constrained by geography, by class.
But today, with hyperconnectivity, with exploding global networks, those barriers of class, country, culture are dissolving rapidly. Think about open source software development, global online collaborations, hackathons. It's democratizing innovation itself. Diverse talents from literally anywhere can connect, collaborate, and push these converging technologies forward. It means fewer brilliant minds fall through the cracks. More ideas get tested, iterated on, leading to more breakthroughs, faster innovation. It feeds the acceleration.
So more money flowing faster, and more minds able to connect and contribute. What else is speeding things up? Well, there's a fact that we're simply living longer. The extension of human lifespan. Our average lifespan has increased dramatically, from maybe 25 years for a cave person to 31 in the Middle Ages, 76 around the turn of the millennium, now routinely into our 80s.
And that trend looks set to continue, maybe even accelerate, again, thanks to convergence. This time it's AI, cloud computing, quantum computing, sensors, big data, biotechnology, nanotechnology, all creating incredibly powerful tools for understanding and intervening in the aging process.
What are some of the really promising advancements on that front?
Well, there's some truly fascinating work. For instance, a company called Unity Biotechnology is developing senolytic medicines. Think of them as smart bombs for aging.
Smart bombs.
Yeah, they specifically target and destroy senescent cells. These are often called zombie cells. They stop dividing but don't die. They just hang around secreting inflammatory signals that contribute to age-related diseases.
Okay, get rid of the zombie cells.
Right. And in mice, doing this has already extended their healthy lifespan by about 35%. Not just longer life, but healthier, longer life.
35% healthy extension. That's significant.
Very. And then there's work coming out of a Harvard spinoff called Allevian. They're focusing on a protein called GDF11. It's sometimes referred to as a young blood factor.
Young blood, like literally.
Well, the factor is found in higher concentrations in younger animals. And when they introduced it into older mice, it appeared to regenerate tissues in the heart, brain, muscles, lungs, kidneys, essentially making older tissues behave more like younger ones.
Wow. So we're not just talking about adding years to life, but potentially adding life to years, reversing some aspects of aging.
That's the goal. And this leads to this really mind-bending concept called longevity escape velocity.
Okay, longevity escape velocity. Sounds like something out of sci-fi again.
It does, but it's a serious idea discussed by researchers like Aubrey de Grey. The concept is this. What if science starts advancing so fast that for every year you live, medicine finds ways to extend your healthy lifespan by more than a year?
So, you basically stay one step ahead of death indefinitely.
Essentially, yes. You reach a point where your expected remaining lifespan keeps increasing rather than decreasing. It's a profound idea. If we reach it, it means even more time for innovation, learning, impact, further fueling the overall acceleration we've been talking about.
It's almost too much to comprehend. And perhaps the ultimate convergence, one that really pushes the boundaries of, well, everything, is meta-intelligence, moving towards some kind of collective consciousness.
That's where things get really interesting, and maybe a bit strange. Brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs, are key here.
Right, connecting brains to machines.
We're seeing incredible progress. Think of Charles Lieber's work at Harvard on injectable neural mesh. It's so fine, so flexible, that neurons seem to grow alongside it, treating the implant almost like biological tissue, not a foreign object.
Injectable neural mesh.
Or Elon Musk's company, Neuralink, aiming for what he calls a neural lace, ultra-high bandwidth interfaces between the brain and computers.
And this isn't just theoretical, right? There are real-world applications happening now.
Absolutely. We're already seeing EEG-based BCIs, non-invasive ones that read brainwaves from the scalp, allowing people with paralysis to walk, using exoskeletons, stroke victims to regain some limb use, even helping diagnose and potentially treat conditions like epilepsy. Quadriplegics have learned to control computer cursors just by thinking.
That's already life-changing technology.
It is. But the broader implication, the longer-term vision, it's truly astounding. The goal for some researchers is to eventually seamlessly link our brains via these interfaces to the internet, to the cloud, to AI.
Link our brains to the cloud, like a hive mind.
Some people use terms like that, maybe a kinder, gentler Borg, as Diamandis and Kotler put it. The idea isn't necessarily about losing individuality, but about enhancing collective intelligence. Imagine being able to access information instantly, communicate thoughts directly, maybe even achieve collective flow states for problem solving or creativity on a scale we can't even imagine now, accelerating innovation far beyond what individual minds or even current collaborative tools allow.
A technologically enabled collective consciousness.
It's a leap in human collaboration, problem solving, shared intelligence, potentially unlike anything else in history. The collective could become vastly more capable than the sum of its individual parts. What's really compelling when you step back and look at all this from this deep dive is just the sheer breadth and the incredible speed of these convergences. From how we travel, how we shop, how we work, even how long we might live and how we might eventually connect our minds. The future really does seem to be arriving faster than we think. It's not this slow, gradual evolution anymore. It feels more like a rapid, almost simultaneous transformation across pretty much every facet of our existence.
Yeah, it's definitely not abstract future gazing. This stuff impacts everything about your life right now or very soon. It influences where you might choose to live and work, how much free time you'll have, how you spend that time. Think about your daily commute, your financial planning, the skills you need for your career, even your social life. Cities are going to look and feel drastically different. Even something as fundamental as the local dating pool could change if travel becomes near instantaneous between distant places. It really demands a fundamental reimagining of our daily existence, doesn't it? We have to rethink our basic assumptions.
It can definitely feel unsettling, imagining such radical change. There's a known psychological bias called loss aversion. We're kind of wired to prefer avoiding a loss over acquiring an equivalent gain. And in this context, it often manifests as this natural human suspicion that future changes are probably going to be worse than what we have now. We focus on what might be lost.
Right, fear of the unknown.
Exactly. But if you look at the broad trends, the long-term data, it consistently shows a world that, despite all its problems, is quietly getting better in many ways. Lower infant mortality, dramatically longer lifespans, the cost of crucial things like renewable energy just plummeting, connectivity exploding. We're seeing this abundance of possibilities materializing right before our eyes, driven by these convergences. So the big question becomes, what does this all mean for you? Building this future, harnessing these potentials, it won't just happen automatically. It's probably going to require the largest cooperative effort in human history. It invites everyone to be an active participant, not just a spectator. So maybe the real final thought is, what exactly are you waiting for?